wrecked on a dirt bike the day before school started and didn't go back to school until like a few weeks ago. And I'm like, your teachers are gonna be like, he just doesn't wanna come to school. I'm like,
I was at a restaurant.
He loves school.
Was having to be away from my daughter to go out. And the lady come in and her and the bartender just having a conversation about yes, and then you could just see the whole the bar. So you gotta kind of watch what you say and how you say it. Cause people say, what did she say?
I'm used to that. People always ask me, what did you say? Let me slow down and try not to talk.
Let me back up.
We're good, we got our corner.
Okay, it's going up here, but.
You doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Sir, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yes, sir. What about you?
Yeah. Always too quick. Always too quick.
Well, that's what holidays are for. To have a vacations or to have a vacation from the vacation.
Thanksgiving's about driving around, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Something about the pilgrims driving from place to place.
I didn't have to do that. My mother-in-law's with me, my parents are next door. So.
There you go.
You're set.
You give thanks every day.
That's right.
Yes.
You know what?
Yep,
This
everybody
James does,
signed
and I
up.
appreciate that.
Yeah, time you did.
Well, when I pulled up, nobody, I said, I had to look at the date. I said, did I mess this up? Sat out there for a couple of minutes. I seen what it is.
Any batteries? Any batteries for that one?
Went to Buffalo. No, it wasn't that bad. Had a good trip. My brother and his family live up there, so
Was one child up there with the big snowstorm?
it was just really more south of them. When we got there, we had a foot of snow. By the time we left, they had green grass. It had gotten warm.
Yeah, but
The
I didn't.
last 10 years in the military, I was
Wasn't
in
even
Fort
lying.
Drum, which is right there above Syracuse, about 3 hours from Buffalo. So
Yep.
I know that area.
I went to school in Syracuse.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're right where you're talking.
I think we're ready.
Okay. All right. I now call to order the November 28th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. We now have a quorum. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Conflict of interest statement. In accordance with North Carolina Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflict of interest and appearance of conflict, and and are instructed to refrain from participating in any matter coming before this board if there is a conflict of interest or appearance of such conflict. If a board member has a known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before this board today, please identify the conflict and refrain from any participation in the matter involved. Does any member of the board have a conflict of interest in any matter coming before the board today? Okay. Under minutes, we don't currently have any minutes to approve. Old business, there's none. Under new business, item 7A on our agenda is case number RZ 22-07, Mountain State Investments LLC. Request to rezone a 2-acre parcel located at 138 Houston Road on the south side of Houston Road between South Main Street and I-77 from Iredell County General Business to Town of Troutman Light Industrial. I will now turn it over to Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is a rezoning request, as you stated, and the applicant is Mountain State Investments LLC. The property is located at 138 Houston Road. It's currently zoned in Iredell County General Business. They are requesting that the property be rezoned to Troutman Light Industrial. I did want to mention that there is an annexation application that's part of this request that will be heard by Town Council in January. What they're requesting this evening is that the property be brought into the town limits and developed for light industrial use. I do want to mention that this is a traditional rezoning application, not conditional. So there's no conditions or site plan as part of the application. What must be considered is that any use within the LI district could potentially be built on this property. The location of the properties highlighted in red here on the screen. This is Houston Road, this is 21, and this is Interstate 77. This is the current zoning map. You can see that the property is zoned general business as well as these other properties in the area that are in the county. Adjacent to the site are some properties that are in the town limits that are zoned for heavy industrial and highway business. This is our land use map, which shows the property for highway commercial use. The property is 2 acres in size. Currently, the property is undeveloped. However, there is a metal building that's been permitted on the site through the county, and it's under construction. I wanted to mention, and I'll be happy to give some more details on this later if you like, or I can do it now, just so you know that this building was permitted through Iredell County. It is zoned highway business in the county, or general business in the county, so the building was a permitted use there. So they went through the county, went ahead and had that plan and their building plans approved. We have received a copy of that site plan. We've looked at it. It's very basic. They're building about a 9,600 square foot metal shell building, and I believe it's going to be flex space. It's very similar to some of the other buildings we've looked at recently, I believe, with these industrial parks, where they intend to build the shell of a building and then build it out per tenant space. Whoever leases, somebody may want a larger space than someone else, but it'll be office. It will also have some warehousing, small warehousing space in it. It's similar to some of the other buildings in the area. But just so you know that the light industrial uses could go there. It's not large enough for any type of large industrial use. It's also not heavy industrial, but that is what the applicant intends to do. The site plan we saw did meet our UDO requirements. The only thing we saw that would need to be corrected is it would need to go before a design review board. So we do have an opportunity to make sure that happens. The reason they're annexing in is because they want access to the town's water and sewer. So there's sewer permit taps or tap fees that have to be paid and permits applied for. So we can hold that until the DRB has reviewed the building and made sure that it complies with all of the standards of the town. But everything else looked fine. The site layout, the number of parking spaces, the landscaping, it all met our ordinance requirements. We didn't see any issues there. And I want to point out that adjacent properties are zoned and developed for commercial and industrial uses. So the use and the zoning fit in with the general area. Our strategic plan that was adopted in 2018 shows the future land use as interchange commercial. In the definition of interchange commercial, it talks about how these uses are located near freeway interchanges, and that these uses do not compete with any retail uses that would be located in our downtown area, but offers typical chain retail, general commercial, or industrial uses nearby. So we feel like this type of use would fit within this land use definition. Based on what the strategic plan is showing here, staff would recommend approval of the rezoning request. We want to point out that our UDO does contain those additional safeguards that will ensure the quality of development. For instance, the DRB review that I just mentioned. So I wanted to point those things out. That's the end of staff's presentation. The applicant is not here this evening. However, this is a traditional rezoning, not conditional. So this can be decided without him here if you all are comfortable with that. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
I guess my major concern you already spoke on was the design review board will still be able to
Yeah, I think we have two ways of making sure that happens. Either if this is annexed before they get their final zoning compliance certificate from the county, then we will be the jurisdiction that issues that final and will hold the final CO on the building until that it happens. If not, we will make sure that that's done before any utility permits are issued.
Okay, and you said it looked, otherwise it looked,
It met our
It met
setback
our-
standards for light industrial. The building, the parking met the parking requirements, the landscaping met landscaping requirements. It's a very basic site plan, didn't have a lot of, it is very basic. It's just, it's a very simple building.
okay, thank you. Okay, I will now open up the meeting up for public comment. Anyone who'd like to speak will need to sign in at the roster. Is there anyone who'd like to speak to this rezoning request?
Sure, I'd like to. I'll sign in. I'm Pastor Chancey Carter. I pastor the Houston Road Baptist Church. The property is located south of the request property. I don't know if you'll be able to actually help me out. From what I understand, from what I've heard, is that basically this is basically a builder that's building a building that will later be, I'm assuming, be leased out to some business or company. And like I said, we pastored the church there. We've been there 25 years, and it's the on that right there, that property there. And so the other businesses have come in. We've had no issue with those businesses. There has been no anything that has conflicted as far as the church and the church operation and all that. And that's really our main concern. And so, what type of business is going there, I know that you probably do not even know that as of yet. From what I understand, like I said, it's just a builder that's going to build a building and then lease it out. So that is, we received y'all's letter, which I would thank you for sending us a letter, letting us know about this meeting. And so we came down just to try to get information. As far as just any type of regular, business, light industrial business, a manufacturer type, like I said, there's some other ones that are there. We really haven't had any problem with them. We haven't had any issues with, any kind of trucks or anything blocking our road or anything like that during, church time or service times. So we hadn't had any issues. So, like I said, that's why I'm here, just to try to find out if anything of that nature would maybe occur, with this new business. But there again, this proposal is by a builder, so from what I understand, I guess that's correct. Is that correct about this? Just a builder building a building?
Yes, sir. And like I said, this is a rezoning to LI. So basically, any use that's permitted in our LI district could go in this building. This is not like a conditional rezoning where the applicant's bringing a specific site plan to the board with a user for that building, or it's just they want it rezoned to light industrial. So anything within that LI district could locate, in the building that they're building. It is a 9,600 square foot building, so it's not large. There's probably maybe some larger buildings in that area. So that would prohibit a lot of your larger manufacturing type uses from going in there. So.
I see. So more likely, it may end up just being kind of like a distribution kind of office or building, I guess, kind of thing.
It could be a single user, it could be multiple, like what we're seeing a lot of right now, and I don't know this, like I said, this is not something that we can consider with this rezoning application. We just have to consider that any use within LI could go on this property, but it could be a single user, it could be more than one. They could split the building up and have more than one tenant in there.
Just for a bit of information, where the, I guess it would be the south east corner of that property. On our property, located right on that line, there is, and we inherited when we came there, there is grave plots there. So there is a graveyard right there on the property. We have about 11 graves. So I don't know if that is something of course, that's just a bit of information for you all, so I don't know, just to let you know that. And I don't know if that would even be an issue, other than if there is any type of runoff or anything from that property.
Yeah, the
to
site
that property.
plan I saw, the building sits about right here in this front corner. And then it looks like, I think there's some trees back here, if I'm not mistaken.
There may be
Is
a
it
few
wooded?
left,
Okay.
There's not a whole
But
lot.
it looked like there's a tree line that ran across the back of the
And
property.
there is a kind of a ditch line right there on that corner, but it's not very defined. And that ditch line is actually on the actual property lines.
Yeah.
So whether or not that's,
The
you know,
site, yeah, the plan I saw didn't show. Like I said, the building and the park, everything was right here
okay,
in that front corner.
all righty,
They didn't show any disturbance back here.
okay, all righty. Okay, well then I guess that answers my questions then, so far. We'll just have to wait to see, what'll be coming and then just go from there, so. I appreciate the time to, y'all allow me to have the time. This pen is not working. It's Houston North Baptist Church, Houston. Thank you once again. I appreciate you allowing us to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Kim, did you receive anything? Okay, we'll now close the public comment time. I guess to answer his question, as far as if there was any kind of disturbance in that area, it would have to be, I'm assuming they have to meet runoff and water, I would assume. Is that correct?
This is not in a watershed, and they're only disturbing 16,000 square feet. So in order for stormwater to apply, on-site stormwater detention, they have to either be in a watershed or disturb over an acre, and they're not doing that on this site. So on-site detention. Now, if they expand and they do further development and disturb more of the site in the future, then yes, they'll have to comply with that. But right now, they're only disturbing 16,000 square feet of the total of the 2-acre site. So it's less than half an acre is what's being disturbed.
Okay. And it's, what they can do there, I don't think is much different than what they could do with the county either. I don't believe, is it?
In terms of stormwater?
No, what they can do as far as what they can build. Ours might be slightly different.
I think
what's allowed.
the zoning districts are similar. The GB and the LI have similar uses. So yes, like I said, the main reason they're asking to be annexed is so that they can have access to town utilities, water and sewer.
And the other properties you were mentioning next door are heavy industrial, so this one won't allow things that would be allowed in the other ones that you haven't had a problem with.
Okay. Well, like I said, we really haven't had any problem with any of the other neighbors, and we understand. Like I said, I've been the pastor there for 25 years, so when we first came in '97, it was a lot different, but we understand about the, if you will, development and all that. But we have been, trying to keep our eye and ear open just in case, if there's, because like I said, our main issue is if there's a possibility of disturbance of the church ministry, church times, and things like that. So that's really our main concern.
Yeah, I don't think I don't believe that will be any different than what you've seen in the past, I don't think.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, like I said, we thank you again.
But thank you for coming out and,
Yes, sir.
and being, asking, and anything we can help you with, and I'm sure Lynn will be glad to, and Andrew.
Okay. So
answer any
if we do
questions.
end up having any kind of issue in the future, I just contact Ms. Lynn then, is that correct? Gotta contact you?
Yes, you can contact the Troutman Planning Department,
Okay.
and if, we'll assist in any way that we can.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any one of the board members have any comments or questions or?
I would like to ask you before you left, I got the impression that they were worried about the type of facility that was there. They didn't want anything that would bring reproach to the church, or maybe it was the sound or the noise or what have you. You wouldn't want a strip bar next to a church. I didn't know what he was talking about, whether it was noise or times of operation, or the facility itself, what they were doing.
I'm not sure, I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but I'm not sure adult establishments are allowed in LI. And there usually typically are distance requirements from establishments like churches. And this one would be directly adjacent to a church, so I'm not sure that would even be allowed.
Maybe something more practical would be like automotive related that might operate during church time.
And like Mr. Farmer, stated, there's already heavy industrial that's even closer to the church than this site. And then there's also some similar zoning. They're basically surrounded by industrial zoning. So
Highly unlikely they'll have a problem.
I can't say definitely yes or no, but I think what the request is consistent with what's in the area already.
And it's pretty much similar to what they were gonna do anyway.
In
So we're
the
not really,
county.
I don't see that we're changing very little. We'd have to look through each one to know that for sure, but.
And like I said, this was a permitted use in the county, so for whatever strange reason this doesn't get approved, I guess technically they could put a well and a septic tank on this site and still operate in the county.
They can have an adult establishment with a special use permit.
And like I said, there's other ordinances that talk about adult uses in there that you'd have to reference on the supplemental
Yeah,
regulations. And there may be some language in there that talks about.
There he is. Yeah, no adult establishment shall be located less than 1,000 feet from a school, church, daycare center, civic building, so he's not gotta worry about it.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion regarding rezoning RZ 22-07?
I have a question first for Lynn, just to make sure I understand. If this is approved by the board here, it's contingent upon the design review board recommendation as well, correct?
Not the rezoning, just the
building
final, the
envelope.
building construction, the final CO on that building.
Okay, thank you for
Or
clarifying.
either the utility permits.
Okay.
Okay, is there, anybody else got any, or you have any?
The rest of my questions were answered.
Just along those same lines, just more curiosity than anything, what guidelines are we holding them to there? What, the conditions of this zoning or something particular to the building?
The design review board just reviews the building elevations, and it has nothing to do with this rezoning. They're looking at the materials, the colors. They can comment on things like, locations of windows and doors and roof materials, basically just to ensure that the building is built to the standards. There are some requirements in the UDO, but just to make sure that the building is attractive and that it's going to be a positive and a benefit to the town.
Is the applicant aware of that now before they build something that's not and they have to change it?
We will let them know that. Like I said, they pulled these permits without our knowledge, really. We did not know that they were, until we went out to post the sign on the site. But they were well within their right to do that, because it was a use by right in the county, and that they can build this building there, without being annexed into the town.
I guess our concern was that, or mine, that they have to build it to our standards, not
Correct.
get it pre-approved at county level if it's less, I don't know if it's less restrictive or,
Everything matched our standards on the site plan. The only thing was that we do have a design review board. But the setbacks, the parking, the landscaping, everything met our ordinance requirements.
materials or,
That's part of the design review board process, yeah.
all right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion for recommendation regarding rezoning RZ 22-07?
I make a motion that we rezone case number RZ-22-07 as requested to light industrial zoning.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now we need a motion regarding consistency statement of RZ 22-07.
With case number RZ-22-07, rezoning to light industrial is consistent with the 2035 future land use map and with the current land use pattern of the area. The request is consistent with the currently adopted Unified Development Ordinance. The request is reasonable and in the public interest as it proposes to allow commercial development in areas of Troutman where it is appropriate.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Other business. Rezoning update, Perth Road and North Fork. I'll now turn it over to Lynn.
I just wanted to give you all an update on items that came before this board, I believe last month and maybe the previous month. But the project there at Perth Road, which was the apartment complex that was being proposed there at Perth and State Park Road, was denied. Actually, the annexation was denied, so the rezoning was never even considered. So just wanted to give you an update on that. And then the North Fork Business Park, that project was deferred by council until December. So the public hearing was held, but the vote will be taken on December 8th. They were just working through some conditions. They wanted to have those in writing, and they had some things that the council was wanting the applicant to add. So the attorney suggested that we defer that until we could get all of that in writing. So that's what is going on with those. And I wanted to also mention that we do not have any items for December. And our typical planning board meeting falls that week of Christmas. So we will just plan on taking that month off. So, and we will see you all in the new year.
Okay,
Sounds good.
do we need to make a motion to not have a December meeting?
I don't necessarily think we do. If there's no items, then there's no meeting typically.
Okay.
It's not, we're not deferring it, we're not changing the date, we're not canceling it with items on the agenda. So I don't think we need to, unless you disagree.
That's-
Either way, yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
If we don't need to, then,
I think we have in the past when we're moving dates or,
yeah,
shifting things around, but
okay. Is anything else? Do you have any?
no, that's it, yeah.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned. I didn't think